Good evening. This is the Board of Education meeting for which adequate notice under the Open Public Meetings Act was provided by written notice on January 8th, 2018 to the Courier News, the Echo Sentinel, the Star Ledger, Tappan to Warren, and the clerks of the Borough of Watchung and the townships of Greenbrook, Long Hill, and Warren. Mr. Stiles, could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Barone?
Here.
Mr. Mizio?
Here.
Mr. Fahey? Mr. Hayek?
Here.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Here.
Mr. Martins?
Here.
Mr. Morrison? Ms. Ober?
Here.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Here.
And Mr. Fallon.
Yes. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I will now entertain a motion in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. Be it hereby resolved that the board move into executive session to discuss confidential personnel, HIB, and legal matters, and the WHREA survey summary, after which action may be taken. It is expected that the matters discussed in executive session will be made public as soon as the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Susan. There's a running clock.
We're good.
Welcome back to our public session. Next item on the agenda, do we have any board correspondence? Thank you. Superintendent's comments.
I would just like to welcome one of our new student reps, Kayla, to her first meeting with Jed. And I want to commend our student performers on the Crucible this past weekend, especially considering their opening night got a little postponed due to some weather on Thursday evening, but they did have, I was at Friday evening's performance, which was outstanding, and they did 2 performances on Saturday as well, and I know that a couple board members were there. They really did an outstanding job. I continue to be amazed with the student talent and just the way that they assume the characters' roles and remember all of those lines and have that. I find it absolutely amazing. And the behind the scenes work, the sets were beautiful. So they did a really, really nice job. And I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And that's all I have. The students will share the rest of the school updates.
Okay, and I too want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, including all of our staff. I also want to thank all the board members here because all of you have completed your board self-evaluations. We have 2 more to get in, and I will be sending an email in the next day reminding you of the dates that Gwen Thornton has available, and we'll try and get a retreat date set. Here's hoping we don't have to close school any more days in November. Mr. Stiles, your comments.
I will likewise wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And I will also report on the school bus emergency evacuation drill that we had on October 24th. It took place between 7 and 7:20 a.m. In the South Building lot over here. It was all of our buses, all of our routes, and we did have, it's probably the day that Susan, you drove, it's the one day when we have someone directing traffic. So yeah, so it went well. It was supervised by our transportation coordinator, Janet T., and all went well.
And what do they practice, evacuating from the school buses?
Yeah, they do. They go out the
Emergency door.
doors. And that's what we kind of usher the cars in a different manner so the buses can line up. Whereas next year with that plan, it'll be a lot easier because all the buses will be lined up in one spot. So we won't have to go through the craziness of changing the pattern for a day.
Okay, thank you. And now we will turn it over to Caleb Park and Jed Ober to tell us about student achievements.
On October 26th, 2 of our students.
Kayla, you want to pull the microphone closer to you because we record this.
On October 26th, 2 of our students, Inika Kodestein and Jania Daniels, both 9th graders, were finalists in a Y Vote essay and video contest run by the Greater New Brunswick Area Chapter of the League of Women Voters. They were invited to the award ceremony at the Eagleton Institute of Politics at Rutgers University, where it was announced that Inika won first place in the contest. Inika's winning essay pushed for the involvement of students in government and encouraged those who are of voting age to voice their opinions and shape the nation. The guest speaker for the evening was Assemblyman Andrew Zwicker. On Wednesday, October 10th, sophomores and juniors took the PSAT, and freshmen participated in a variety of programs on coding, naviance, yoga, and a speaker on diversity. Seniors enjoyed an extra 2 hours of sleep before meeting at the stadium for a senior class photo. On October 10th at 7 p.m. in the PAC, Dr. Robert Massa, Senior Vice President for Enrollment and Institutional Planning at Drew University in Madison, gave a presentation on what really matters in the search for a college by students and parents. Dr. Massa gave advice on when and where to begin and how to proceed. The program was well received. On Wednesday, October 17th, from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., the English department hosted a guest speaker, Hilary Rail, the author of Kids Like Us, the novel selected as a school-wide read for 2018. Hilary spoke to over 200 WHRHS students about her book during 2 assembly programs and spent time talking with teachers during lunch. She was impressed by her students and our school.
Script and Q held their annual Fall Cabaret fundraiser on October 18th at 7 p.m. in the PAC. Students sang, acted out scenes, and performed comedy. The audience members sat at a cabaret-style table on stage to watch this popular annual event. Junior parent/student night took place on Wednesday, October 24th. There was a large turnout for the event. Students and parents attended breakout sessions with their individual counselors, focusing on college admission, the application process, research, financial aid, and alternatives to college. On Thursday, October 25th at 7 p.m., 97 seniors were inducted into the National Honor Society in the PAC. Mr. Whrhs Boe, one of our math teachers, was honored as the National Honor Society Teacher of the Year. The program was well attended by family and friends of the inductees. Freshman Parent Night was held on Monday, November 5th at 7 p.m. in the PAC. This was a parents-only program and focused on students' 4 years journey at Watchung Hills. Some topics included transcripts, naviance, college searches, resume development, and scheduling. The fall season has ended and the winter sports season is starting up. The athletic department would like to thank the buildings and grounds and transportation departments for their support this past season. Congratulations to our girls soccer team and boys soccer team for capturing the 2018 Skyland Conference Championship title this year. The girls soccer team played well into the state tournament, falling to Bridgewater in the sectional finals. We also want to congratulate our girls cross country team for their participation in the Meet of Champions.
Thank you, Jed and Kayla. And Kayla, so you know, you're not required to stay for the rest of the meeting. You're welcome to stay. But if you've got homework or other obligations, feel free to go. I'm also going to thank Freddie for being an inspirational example of students involved in government. Board discussion. I'm sorry. First opportunity for public comment. If you'd like to address us, please come up and identify yourself, read, and
Well, one at a time.
okay, I will then close the first opportunity for public comment. Board discussion. Again, as I mentioned, I'll get back out the dates on when we'll have the retreat. Does anybody else have anything? Yes, I'm sorry, I skipped right over. Rita Barone did attend the delegate assembly and indicated she was ready to report on it, and I skipped right over her, so I apologize, Rita.
That's okay. I was gonna do it at other business, it doesn't matter. We didn't have, there was no resolutions, so there was no voting. So a lot of times when you go to the assemblies, districts have put together resolutions to propose, and the delegate assembly can vote on them. And the resolutions are generally ideas of where the New Jersey School Boards Association could lobby or use funds towards, or like positions that they may want to take with the legislation, with the legislators. But nobody had any new issues, I guess. So instead, one of the, executive committee members invited Lucille Davies, and it was supposed to be Senator Sweeney, but he couldn't come last minute. So it was an executive director, Mark Magyar, from the New Jersey Senate Democratic Committee that attended on his behalf, and they spoke about two, I guess, policy initiatives in terms of what's happening with schools. One that they see as the forefront, one is regionalization. In that respect, you know, they acknowledge that we've all been down this rodeo a couple times. They didn't really have any clear-cut information other than it's being recommended. They are doing, some districts they are funding some pilot studies for certain districts to help to see if, I think mostly the ones that have like not either have like very tiny K through 6s or tiny K through 8s to regionalize into their regional school district. I think a lot of the districts that they've been looking at are sort of rural ones, Sussex County, Warren County, where you know you can have K through 8 districts that maybe only have 300 kids. They talked about how, you know, some of the studies say the sweet spot is between 3,000 and 5,000. They talked about how you shouldn't do it for economic reasons, that it's really for the purposes of bringing together the districts for articulation so that all the programs are the same, for access to extracurricular activities that maybe some smaller K-8s wouldn't have, but maybe they'd have if you were in a larger regionalized district, for educational purposes. They suggested that if districts wanted to engage in these conversations and get to a point that they're interested, you really have to do a study. They talked about how there might be money for studies that get passed at some point in time, but it really was unclear that there wasn't anything that they could say, you know, a proposal's going to be passed and there will be grant money or some sort of money that we could apply for if anybody was interested. So that was the basic discussion, but it's definitely, again, something that this administration is bringing up to try to, but it's not mandated. There's no, that was clear, they're not trying to mandate anything. I think it's more about what they're talking. I think the only thing that I can think of, and what was kind of alluded to, was that given that some of the districts lost state aid based on how they were getting their state aid previously, that 9 years ago, that now is only catching up to them now based on their population. There's a lot of districts like middle districts, like the ones that are not high economics or low economics, they're like in the middle, that have lost money, and those are the ones that may see maybe even though it's not for economic reasons, but may see the value in looking at a regionalization study. So that could be the stick, if you will. Hopefully if they ever get here, they really need to put some carrots in my mind. But the other issue is special ed. They talked about how there is, concern about Office of Administrative Law and moving those hearings quicker, to have dedicated ALJs to just do special education to move them quicker. There is some discussion about also switching the burden of production. It wasn't clear exactly. The way Lucille Davies explained it was districts often have to put their cases on without really knowing what the parents are looking for, and they have to go first. So making sure that the parents' side has presented what they really want first. In my mind, that could really mean, it would be beneficial in my mind, that if they had to go first, right? They had to put their case on first, the burden of production, even though the burden of proof would still remain on the district. So those are things they're talking about. They also talked about that extraordinary aid. Somebody asked this question, and if it actually gets done, I think it would be very helpful, may start to include transportation. Because right now, right, Tim, right, you don't include the transportation funds when you determine if you're over the $50,000 mark, right?
Yeah, that's correct, we don't include it.
So if they did include transportation, that would be a boon to districts in terms of getting more aid back, because sometimes the transportation can be as much or close to as much as the tuition in some of these programs, out-of-district programs. So that, again, not clear cut, but it was suggested that that would be something that they would consider. So.
That would be nice.
You know, there have been lots of regionalization discussions before. What I'm disappointed in, I'm glad it's being discussed. I think our particular area would be a great one for some consolidation, but I'm very disappointed that we're still not getting any discussion of the legislature being willing to take away some of the laws that have been put in place that make regionalization almost impossible, such
There
as.
was an acknowledgement that the law needed to be changed, but there was nothing clear that they were providing us in terms of that information.
Yeah,
Yes, correct.
thank you, Rita. Okay, we have a number of addendum items on the agenda for tonight, so now is the point where we ask for discussion on any of the addendum items. So if anyone wants to ask questions or make any points with regard to the addendum items, which are items A15 through A17 and C16 through C19. And that's it. Oh, and also C20 and D24. Hearing none at this point, let's move on to action items.
I'd like to move A1 through A13.
Second.
Okay, any discussion of resolutions recommended by the superintendent, A1 through A13?
And A15, do you want to include A15?
For A15, yes.
Second.
Second, yes.
Thank you. Okay, any discussions of A1 through A13 and A15? Hearing none, could we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Mizia?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Martins?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
I'd like to move A14, A16, and A17.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion of resolutions A14, A16, and A17? Mr. Stiles, could we have a roll call vote?
Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Ms. Mizia?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Okay, motion's carried.
I move C1 through C20.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion of resolutions C1 through C20? Do we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Mizia?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, and I move D1 through D24.
No,
I'm sorry, D22
two.
and D24.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion of resolutions D1 through D22 and D24? I will just acknowledge with gratitude, the donation in the amount of $3,500 from the Watch on Hills Municipal Alliance that was used for Challenge Day that's mentioned in resolution D24.
And there were also other donations for
Thank you.
Challenge Day.
There are.
$1,000 from Warren Township Youth Services Commission, $1,000 from the Greenbrook Youth Services Commission, $9,500, this is different, a wellness grant,
That's a wellness
from,
program.
$9,500 from the school health insurance fund to be used for wellness programs that benefit WHRHS employees.
And that was the one that Brown & Brown was instrumental in getting us that
Yes.
grant for.
I think I covered that all,
Yep.
right?
Thank you, Lisa. Could we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles, on D1 through D22 and D24?
Okay, Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mizia?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Martins?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
And I move D23.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on D23? Do we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Okay, Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Mizia?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion carried.
It's Now our second opportunity for public comment, which I will now close. Thank you. Unless, anybody have any other business? Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Have a motion? Thank you, second.
Second,
Good night,
third,
everybody.
fourth, whatever you need.
All in favor?